Hello. I received a request this week to do a video on why someone's prayers weren't answered. And while this is a very difficult question, I believe as Christians we have an obligation to have an answer. And I don't think everybody has all the answers, trust me. Not fully. After all, we're mere human beings. And we're talking about God, who says his ways are higher than our ways. I wouldn't for a minute think that I could ever know everything about God, every aspect. But that doesn't mean that I can't look in his word and find some answers to the question that I think help. For the first place is, it would be simple to say that in some cases you can't get what you pray for because you shouldn't have it. You don't need it. And it's not going to do you any good. And in fact, if you know some parents who give their kids everything they want, well, we go on to call that spoiled. But in the case of a loss of a loved one, we can't really say this really answers the mail, does it? Where is God when I lost my child, or my wife, or my husband, or my sibling? Why didn't he answer my prayer? Honestly, I don't know. But what I do know about God is that the Bible tells us that he's the God of love. And that there's not a sparrow that falls from the sky that he's not aware of. That he knows his plans for you and that those plans are good, not bad. And so that helps me to understand that I'm dealing with a God that is compassionate and loving and cares about me. And while I live in this world and bad things happen, and I wish God could maybe stop it all, I realize he sees things that I don't see. Could it just be that God saw something in the future that he spared my loved one from long suffering and pain? I don't know. Maybe the question really isn't, why did somebody die? But if you knew the answer, would that really solve your problem? Probably not. You would still be missing a child. The truth is, it could be that we view death the wrong way. We see death as the end of every opportunity, but the truth is that's not the way God sees it. God sees you taking your last breath on this earth and then taking another big gulp. And all of a sudden you're in heaven in this new, exciting, brilliant life, running the streets that are paved with gold. No more sickness, no more pain, no more sorrow, no more evil. And so if you have lost a loved one and they are God's child, they're in a place that is much better than what we call earth. In 2 Samuel 12 and about verse 23, David, after losing his child, said, I cannot bring him back, but I can go to him. There is hope. But hope is on the other side of this world. Hope is in heaven, in a place called heaven. And so one day God will come and he will put the pieces all back together, and the unseen will become the seen. The truth is, what's the other alternative? Is it to run away from God? Is it to deny God? Is it to say, well, if that's the kind of God you serve, I want nothing to do with him? Let me ask you, what kind of life would that bring you? I think if we're all honest with ourselves, we know the answer to that question. It's not going to solve the problem. It's going to bring more misery and more pain. So I want to encourage you today to run into the arms of God and not away from God. Understanding that, yes, this pain will be with you the rest of your life to some shape or form. But that it can become manageable. And that each day it'll get a little bit better. I don't know where you are in this process, but if you're grieving, if it's brand new and it's fresh and the wound is open, can I encourage you to surround yourself with good people who can bring you hope when you can't find it within yourself? And that if you can't run to God today, maybe you can run to God tomorrow. But this God that loves you enough to give you his son felt the same pain. And one day he's coming back. Jesus said, in my Father's house are many rooms, and I wouldn't have said that if I wasn't coming back to get you. I'm going to prepare a place for you. And like King David, one day, you can go home to be with your loved one. This is Jesse Welker with the Glenwood Church of Christ.